Get ready to learn with us on Bass University Live. Bass University Live starts now. Welcome to Bass University Live. Good to have you guys with us on a Monday night. We're having a special broadcast due to ICAST and travel arrangements and my good friend, part-time pro Scott Martin. How are you, man?
I'm part-time Scotty. when I was logging into your deal, it said, "What's your title?" And I said, "I'm part-time pro today." Part-time pro. I appreciate you having me, man, and adjusting some stuff. I know we were scheduled to do your podcast tomorrow, and I got some dates on my end messed up, so I appreciate you working it out, man.
Oh man, it's always great to have you, man, and catch up with you. I mentioned we were both at ICAST. I saw your daughter. I saw Hillary from distance. She was over at the Strike King booth for a while, which was close to ours. So I saw her. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna see Scott somewhere along these lines. But there's so many people, such a big floor space. We didn't bump into each other down there. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was. It was a good show. It's that Hillary's 21 officially now. We just had her birthday this weekend, and so now her wings are starting to spread, and she's kind of flying high right now. So I'm really proud of her. She's doing her own thing, and she's bouncing around, taking care of business.
Man, that's amazing. I can't believe she's 21 already. That's amazing news. I know my son is 16. We're in the high school competitions all the time.
Oh, isn't that fun? Isn't that so much fun?
Man. Did you do all that with Hillary? Did you coach all her teams?
I did. I only did it for 2 years. We got in on it late, and I remember the first time that I was a coach and a boat driver, and I thought to myself, this is gonna be tough. Like, this is gonna be really hard for me to sit there and like watch them all day. I'm gonna go crazy. So I went to the store and I bought all these snacks, and I had all this. I had my AirPods. I had all my stuff. Like, okay, let them fish. I'm just gonna be sitting here, and it's gonna be awful for me. And it was totally the opposite. I never even opened the cooler up. She had to like remind me to take a drink of water. I was just watching them mesmerized the whole time. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. Watching them fish and watching them game plan what they wanted to do, and and all that. And so I absolutely loved it. I wish you would have failed her senior year so we could have done it again.
I feel the same way. It's like I am mesmerized. I'm so engaged, but I take a different approach. I holler, I scream a lot, I bark orders. Like you're trolling too fast, too slow. You're missing targets. Come on, get your head in the game.
That's right. Now there was definitely some of that as well, but they did good, and I'd say I learned a lot too, and I learned something because a few times, Hillary or her partner, most of the time it was Hillary, would maybe pick up a lure that I at the time thought like, no, wrong choice, but I would let them do it and I wouldn't say anything, and I'm biting my tongue, and dude, she would catch one. She'd catch like a 4 or 5 pounder, like all of a sudden, and I was like, wow, I was so wrong in my thinking, but yet whatever she was thinking was right. And man, I never said anything, but I was just like the whole time biting my tongue, and then boom, she's got one. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That is, it's watching them succeed at that. And, I tried to do that too, man. Like I try to back off the throttle. Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't throw that in this situation, but let me see what happens, and I'm trying to back off that throttle, but it's a lot of fun. So we're going down to Kentucky Lake for the national championship here in a week. So we'll,
oh, great. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. Yeah, doing that, battling heat, but what's been keeping you busy these days? I mean, I know obviously you're doing a lot of broadcasting, a lot of filming. What's happening in Scott Martin's world right now?
Well, it's awesome. First of all, I'm so glad with everything, even though it was that was messy. You know, it was just messy. Not even talk about all that, but all that was messy. But I'm so glad it's behind me now because there were so many things that I wasn't able to do, and so many other things that I just needed to really pay more attention to, like the television stuff. We launched a whole new saltwater series as well that's on television now called Vice Versa Adventures. Um, I'm 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 having more fun in tournaments now than I ever did before, and I'm still doing tournaments, still do 8 or 9 or 10 tournaments a year, but I'm doing the ones I want to do. You know, Pete. Like,
Yeah.
here's the beautiful thing, and I made this comment to somebody the other day, and they said, "Well, what are you fishing?" I said, "Here's what I'm fishing. I'm fishing stuff that if I need to not fish the tournament because I want to go on a trip with my wife, I'm going to go on the trip with my wife and cancel the tournament. I don't want to fish for points. I'm not trying to fish for a championship. If it happens, it happens. I'm just fishing. I'm kind of cherry picking stuff that I want to fish. I was supposed to go to St. Lawrence River. I was scheduled for the St. Lawrence River, and an opportunity came up for my wife and I to go to Hawaii. We're leaving tomorrow. That's why we're doing this podcast today. And I said, no problem. I canceled the tournament, canceled my reservations at the St. Lawrence and everything. And you know, Pete, I thought about that, and you probably the same way. 25 years I fished tour events. 25 years fished a hard schedule. Never missed one
Yep.
tournament. Never missed one tournament in 25 years. Never
Yep.
missed a single event. But I told my wife and my kids and my friends, "Sorry, I have a tournament." You know the feeling. Sorry, I can't. No, man, I'm
Yep.
so sorry. I can't go on that trip. I've got a tournament. Sorry, I can't make graduation this year again. I've got a tournament. So we're done with all that. So I'm having fun fishing some good stuff. We're filming it just like we did before, and man, I'm blessed to be honest with you. To be honest with you, it's just good stuff, man. Fishing some local
Yep.
tournaments with my buddies that I haven't fished with in a long time, and it's
That's
good.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that too, and I do that. Bass University has got me, running, and I'm working that all the time, all the time. So I cherry pick, and
yeah,
that's what I've decided. Like you, like I fish the tournaments that I want to, and
hmm
bodies of water that I love going to, and yeah, how many weddings and birthday parties have we missed
oh
over
man,
the
yeah,
years? It's just countless. You're fishing sick, you're fishing with
hmm
fevers, and you're just
oh yeah,
blasting through it. So
oh yeah.
it's got to be a little bit of weight off the shoulders. That's got to feel pretty
It
good.
is, but I still, people ask me all the time. I'm doing a lot of saltwater fishing. They're like, "Man, you like the saltwater?" I'm like, "No, man.
Yeah,
Bass fishing's still king to me. Bass
yeah,
tournaments are still king to me. I still love the competition. If I could cherry pick some big, MLF events, like the big stuff, I would do that as well. But unfortunately, you can't. You have to fish the whole tour. So I do miss getting on tour and putting together that game plan. That game plan that's really for it's like
mm,
and this I'll say this for the people that are like new to tournament fishing or thinking about getting into tournament fishing. It's the reason Pete does it, the reason I do it, the reason Iconelli does it. It's not because of how fun fishing is. It's not because we get to travel. It's not because of how great the fish fight or jump out of the water. It's the game plan, right? It's that figuring out like this is what I think I should do, and then implementing that game plan, and then making adjustments throughout, and having a good tournament. That's where I get my enjoyment, and I know it's the same for you and a lot of other guys too. And
yeah.
it's I've missed that part of it because I can go fun fishing right now in some private lake or go out here on Okeechobee and go have a ball. But there's tournament fishing against all the boys, a little different.
I've described, and let me know if you feel this way, but I love that part of it, like you talked about. And honestly, one of my favorite parts is practice, like pre-fishing,
Yeah, right,
like
right. Yeah,
where you're game planning, like you don't
exactly.
have you're before the off limits. You know what I mean? You're looking
Yeah,
at a grass line. You're like, wow, I didn't know
hmm
that was here. Maybe
yeah,
that's going to fire in a couple weeks.
hmm
And you're just relaxed. You're enjoying going through that process. I love
oh
that
yeah,
process. And one of my other like I call it getting to level 10. Like there's few things that can get you to level 10.
hmm
And when you're in a tournament and your game plan is or unfolding in front, it's happening real
yeah,
time. And you catch a 4-pounder or a 6-pounder when you need it, and
yeah,
that's that's the, you're going to break guys' backs with that fish. And
That's right.
it's,
That's right.
it's
And your
really,
plan worked. And your plan
it,
worked. Your decision
yeah,
was the right one.
and you're, man, everything's firing, man. You can, it's like you're in the zone. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You
yeah.
can see your peripheral opens up,
Yeah.
man. You almost know you're going to get bit before you make that cast. And
Oh, yeah.
that tournament fishing brings that out like nothing else.
Oh, I mean, think about it. This is a perfect example. Like, how many times have you gone, if you went out fun fishing on the Potomac right now and caught a 3 pound bass or a 2.5 pound bass, you wouldn't yell or scream. You'd be like, that's cool. Catch a bass, throw him back.
Yeah.
But you catch him in a tournament and you're like, it's your fifth fish or whatever. And, or that's the one you needed to get a check, or that's the one you needed to get some extra points. That is like that's the most important, like the coolest experience ever to have happen. Like, you remember that 2 pounder, you remember that two and a half
Yeah.
pounder for your whole life.
Yeah, it's exceptional, I can see you love it. It's and it's awesome to see. And I'm going to give a shout out to some of the guys. Mitch watching us from Maine, having some lobster. Appreciate you, Rick, and all the other guys. Bruce, I see you. Howie Range, I don't see you, and I want to wish you well. I know how we heard word that Howie was sick, and want to wish him our thoughts and prayers. Send him from the Bass University family. Howie's always with us, and we want to get you back out on the water as soon as we can, buddy. But I want to ask you this, Scott. We love fishing. We love what's going on. If I handed you one rod and one reel,
Yeah.
right now, you can go anywhere in the country fishing. Right now, tomorrow, where are you going?
Where am I going? If you handed me one rod and said go, I would drive straight out on Lake Ontario and go try to catch
Heck
some big
yeah.
old gigantic smallmouth, because that's pretty special. Grab my spinning rod with 10 pound line and that 7 or 9 pound leader, a little black fly, and troll motor around those islands and stuff out there, and see if I can't get
Love that.
those big old black things coming up behind. Every one of them looks like a 7 pounder until you hook them. Oh,
That's
that's
so
that's
awesome.
that's so unique. I love going up there. I told a buddy of mine today. I was talking to Canterbury today earlier, and I told him, I said, next year, man, I think I'm gonna rent a house up there next year for like a month and just leave a boat and truck up there and fly back and forth a few times and just try to take advantage of that June and July time frame up there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's when they're coming off the beds, right?
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah, I mean
about that
June,
time.
July, they're on the beds. You'll in the river, you'll
Okay.
catch them in June on the beds, and then in July you'll catch them on the lake. And I haven't ever done the spawning smallmouth on the St. Lawrence yet, so it'd be kind of neat. I hear these stories of just unbelievable fishing days.
Yeah, they're giants. I haven't either. I always catch them. We've been up there in August mainly, which is they're a
Right.
little bit more spread out, a little bit more challenging, but
Yeah.
it's still awesome every day you're out there. But that springtime is awesome. We battle the weather a little bit. I don't wonder how Hillary is with this, but with my son, we go out there and like the wind blows, you know how bad it gets. It's 5 to 10 foot waves out there,
Right. Yeah.
and they're fearless, absolutely fearless. Like
Right.
it'll be, I told one time I took him out there right in the mouth of the river there, and I'm like, all right, tough guy. It's blowing, it's hammering like 20 to 30 out of the southwest, and I'm like, I just nose us out into the lake, and you're gonna see what this is like. I mean to tell you, I'm honest to
Yeah.
goodness, 6 to 10 footers, giants, white caps, the whole bit right there. And he's like, come on, let's go to the islands, that fearless, just don't care about it at all. But we love to go to the Ducks. Like that's one of
Yeah.
our
Oh, yeah.
favorite places. We go to like the Stony and Glue and that stuff too.
Mhm.
Where do you like to go when you're out there?
Yeah, same thing. I like Stony and Glue. I go a little farther out that way. I seem to get away from everybody. Don't have too much company out that way. But yeah, the one of the 2 times ago in one of the elites, I made the top 10 there, and I that one first day of the tournament, it blew. It was whatever, bad as it gets, 6, 8 footers out there on the lake, and I made it all the way out, and man, they bit. Like when it's rough like that, if you see a fish on your graph, like you can't even tell what's going on because the boat's just up and down. But you see a blip, you drop that drop shot down, and it is literally won't hit the bottom. Like it's instantly on. I had like 25 and a half or 26 pounds, like
Amazing.
in just a few minutes, man. It was
Hmm.
crazy. And you go out there when it's calm and you can still catch them, but it's a lot harder. But when it's rough like that, man, they eat everything.
Yeah. Yeah. They love it. They love the rough weather. If you can just tolerate it,
Yeah.
you know, with being a boater, I've had lots of guys getting sick and all. I've had all kinds of cool stories out there. But great place to go fishing. I agree with you. I think that might be my choice too. What's going
Okeechobee's pretty
on?
special too.
I was just going to ask you, what's going on down there? What's the summertime on Okeechobee and the Florida area? What's that looking like right now?
So I'll give you a quick update on the lake. You know, you see me talk about the health of the lake all the time, talking about the
Yeah.
environmental stuff on the lake, fighting for the health of the lake. A lot of positive things. There's projects going on in the lake right now. Lake is below 11 feet. It's like 10 and change, and which is almost as low as it's been in 10 years or so, a long time. So what happens is, like I just drove up on the levee a minute ago, Pete, and I was looking out on the west wall, which you can see from the levee here,
Hmm.
and it's dry land. Like
Wow.
half of that is like literal dry land. And so, you know, what does that mean when that happens? So all that soil's drying up good and all that decayed material, you know, goes away. A lot of new plants will start popping up through that soil. And man, it is really good. I've been fishing way out in the lake because you can't fish around the grass right now. So this is so cool. So there's a big reef that runs across the lake. You've heard about that reef that runs across rocks.
Yep.
But there's
Hmm.
also little tiny places out in the lake that are just obscure, like little holes and a little rock pile here and there, natural things. And I know where most of them are, if not all of them, over the years. And even some of them that I had found 15 years ago, you know, I didn't have the waypoints for them anymore. Like I didn't save them properly or whatever. But I kind of remember where they are, so I'm like literally going back to old school, like triangulation, and doing like lining up an antenna. I'm like, yeah, I used to line that antenna up over there with almost like that, and then I'll just start driving, and I found some of this stuff, and it's been pretty special, Pete. Like you pull
No
up,
kidding.
and there's like wolf packs of these bass out there. I took Hillary out there the other day. We were practicing for this tournament, and I said, Hillary, I said, come in my. She was fishing against me in this tournament. Her and my dad are going to teamed up on some of the tournaments, and I'm fishing with my buddy. So I said, Hillary, I said, ride with me. I said, I just want to show you some really cool old school stuff. Like, you know, this might not line up again for years. And so I found one of those places. I said, right in here, and I'm driving around. Boom, there it was. And there's a video, and she catches almost a 9 pounder, that right off
Wow.
the bat. And I start kidding with her. I'm like, well, and I said, just so you know, like, where do you plan on fishing tomorrow? Because you're not fishing here. She's like, oh, yes, I am. I caught that bass here. I'm fishing here in the tournament. So, but it's been cool, and we're way out in the lake, Pete, like 3, 4, 5 miles out in the lake, and it's crystal clear, hard shell bottom, rocks, bluegill. Like, there's more bluegill in Lake Okeechobee than
What?
anywhere in the world. Like, Pete, I'm out in the lake in any direction you go. In any direction you go, as far as you want out in the lake, and there's nothing but bluegill beds the entire time you drive. Big,
Wow.
gigantic bluegill everywhere.
That's
It's
crazy.
so cool.
You surprised me when you said clear water.
Yeah.
Like with the lake so low, I was there I guess last spring, a year ago
Hmm.
spring,
Hmm.
and the lake was low, and man, we had a heck of a time finding clear water
Right.
because of that. What's changed? What's
Well,
happening
two
out there now?
two two things. When in the summertime, the wind doesn't blow, so that's number one. You know, so
Okay,
the sort of sediment stays down. But number two, there's just hardly any sediment, bad sediment left in the lake. It's all just kind of gone away. I was talking to a guy a
okay,
minute ago about it. Like a lot of people think that Lake Okeechobee is this big bubbly mess. You know, like back in the day when you'd go back in the swamp and you'd stop your boat and bubbles would start coming up and there'd be all this muck everywhere. All that's gone. It's hard sand bottom and seashells. If you bet me to bring you back a 5-gallon bucket of muck. Bet me 10 grand. I don't think I can do it from the
Wow.
lake. I don't think I can do it.
Wow.
I don't think I could find any of it. It's hard sand bottom, natural lake bottom everywhere. So
That's
the
fantastic.
lake is doing some miraculous changes right now. So we're hopeful that they'll manage the lake level at a proper water level going forward to
Hmm.
allow that vegetation to continue to grow. The problem was 7 or 8 or 10 years ago and beyond, they didn't manage Lake Okeechobee's water levels based on the ecology of the lake. They based the water levels in Lake Okeechobee on what the farmers needed and what the cities needed and what all these other people needed, and the ecology of the lake was last on the list.
Right.
And fortunately, we've changed that position to now where the ecology of the lake is right up there towards number one, which is the way it should be. It's a natural lake. We all own it. It's not man-made. No one has the right to destroy a natural, beautiful lake like that just to, hold a whole bunch of extra water and do all the, let a natural lake be natural, Pete. You
Hmm.
can't expect a natural lake. It's very big common sense. You can't expect a natural lake to be natural at unnatural water levels.
Right.
Can't happen.
Yep. And they were keeping it up last we talked, and now you're in a drought situation, and
Yeah.
well, it seems like things are going well. Let's dive into the fishing side of it, Scott. What do you
Yeah.
how's Hillary catching that 9 pounder? What are you fishing with out there right now in the
Well,
early
they
summer?
were they were eating quickies. That was a pretty big deal. I actually caught a bunch on quickies, which was funny.
That's
And
surprising.
yeah, I missed the boat on that a little bit because I told a buddy of mine, I said, this was like 3 months ago when the thing hadn't really blown up big yet. There was a few people talking about it for maybe 4 months, and there was a tournament on the lake, and I said, dude, I have quickies. Told my partner, I said, well, I have some quickies. There's a lot of bass swimming around in the shallows. You could like literally see them swimming around, and you'd throw a frog in front of them and catch them, or a fluke. And
Right.
so we're kind of sight fishing, but they weren't spawning; they were just cruising around. And I told my buddy, I said, I need to bring some quickies. And he said, yeah, that'd be a good idea. So I brought them in the boat. I had them in the rod locker, and we fishing that day. And we're catching them good, flipping and throwing swim baits. And he said, pick up that quickie. And I said, I'm not fool with that thing. Forget it. And we never pulled it out all day. And we caught like 22, 23 pounds, whatever it was. Did okay in the tournament, fourth or fifth in the tournament. And then we went out like a week later and filmed a TV show. And I had that same rod in the rod locker, and same place, but same place. And there, a couple of bass swim around. And I said, let me try that quickie. I pulled it out of the rod locker and threw it out there, the first one, and it went and just. I watched him eat it like a 7 pounder. We caught like a 30-pound bag, and just every fish we threw it at ran over there and ate it like it was going out of style.
Wow.
And I'm sure if I would have thrown it in the tournament, we would have caught several more bigger fish.
Hmm.
And but since then, we've been catching them on it pretty good. But they've kind of got off of it a little bit now. I think it's past that cycle a little bit. So now they're eating zero spooks better, and they're eating. Believe it or not, we're throwing some minnows and stuff out there in that open water. I'm throwing a minnow in like 3 foot of water, catching them on a light head, a big 7-inch minnow, just
Right.
holding it high. And yeah, just holding it high. It's like a big gizzard shad going along, and they eat it.
What weight head are you using for something like that?
1/8 ounce.
1/8 ounce. Okay.
Yep, 1/8 ounce on
I thought
15-pound leader. A little bit bigger line, and holding it
right.
up high. They're eating it pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Is
Oh,
are
there's my
somebody
buddy Donnie Bass right there that's popped up.
there he
Is
is.
he is he is he watching or is he listening? True
He is
story. It was
watching.
crazy. There it is. True story. It was crazy. He was in the boat with me. That's right, Donnie.
It must be true. Are some of those hard spots? Is that like I remember hearing like they were coral
Limestone,
from
limestone. It's limestone.
limestone.
Everything. Yeah, South Florida has a very shallow limestone bed, and so if you go out on the lake right now, there's a lot of that exposed. And you can see it looks like moon rock, So, but
Mm,
I'm sure coral grew on it at some point, when it was an ocean,
yep.
millions of years ago. But it
Mhm.
is it is just the shallow limestone. Even when you go down the Everglades, we're running airboats and stuff and swamp buggies in the Everglades. The soil, most of the Everglades, the soil is only less than a foot thick, and it's limestone, solid limestone underneath it.
I
So a
got you.
lot of this is exposed,
Okay.
solid. And you hear people tearing up, like in Okeechobee, tear your boat up, they'll tear your
Yep.
prop up.
Yep.
It's
That's
not,
me.
yeah, it's just hard bottom. It's limestone flat rock. It's not like a big rock sticking up. It's just a hard bottom spot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've hit it a few times over the years. I remember
Hmm.
we fished that lake at variety of levels, but I remember smashing into it. But
Yeah.
the Koike, you fishing out around the reeds, the lily pads. Have you solved the vegetation rigging dilemma with that bait?
No, Donnie and I were just chunking it around the edge of the grass. We didn't throw it back in it at all.
Okay.
We didn't. The first time we did it, we didn't know what we were doing. It was literally like make it up as we were going. I had like a drop shot hook or something big in there, and we missed. If we'd had it set up the right way, we would have dropped a crazy bag. But right now I'm just chunking it around the edges. But I would imagine this spring, I bet you could flip and pitch it around some stuff, and probably get those fish to react to it.
Yeah. Well, maybe so. I guess we'll find. You'll have to get back to us and let us know how that goes.
I think
Um,
you could take it like what I envision is maybe taking it on like a 7 foot 3 inch medium heavy 50-pound braid, rig it on I think you could rig it on like a big weedless hook. In
mhm,
shiner fishing, we use these hooks. You've probably seen them, Pete. It's what they call a kale style hook.
mhm,
So it's got
mhm.
a big gap in it, like a big tube hook.
Yeah, yeah,
And
sure.
Mustad makes them. We sell them at the marina. Mustad makes them with a big wire weed guard that is a really heavy duty weed guard. We use it for shiner fishing because we'll throw the shiners back in the grass. I think you could take that like a 5 or 6 aught and put it on there with that weed guard, and I think you could just twitch it right through all that stuff like a frog. And I think as it came across a hole, I bet they'll come up and hit it.
I think they will. Well, I can tell you what I've done. Is I've taken a swim jig um, head,
That's a good idea.
and
Yeah,
I threaded it onto a swim jig, and with a bigger size hook,
yeah,
but the hookup ratio suffers.
yeah,
So I haven't got that figured out, but it works amazing around the vegetation and the wood. You can just fire it right into the thickest stuff and get strikes. But
yeah,
here's one of the cool parts about it is you feel like you're smallmouth fishing with it because you'll set, and because there's so much plastic, it balls
yeah,
up and it'll pop out of his face. They'll come right back for it. They'll come back
yeah, yeah,
for it 2 or 3 times,
yeah.
like a smallmouth does with baits.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm playing around with that, but you could certainly throw it in the vegetation with that hook.
I,
It's
I,
fun.
I took it. We were down in the Keys about 2 weeks ago, saltwater fishing, and we were offshore for mahi. It's the time of the year these big schools of mahi get all around the boat, and and when they're frenzying
That's
up, you
awesome.
can we just take pieces of squid, and just literally hook a chunk of squid on and just chunk it out, and they just run over, freight train it, and just eat it like they're like scavengers. And so we're filming it, and Hillary was there, and I said I had a rod with a koike on it. I said, the title of the video will be "We went mahi fishing with a koike" or something like that. So it'd be kind of neat. So if we start catching them on this koike saltwater fish, it's gonna blow the internet up. So they're all the mahi are going crazy, and everybody's got one on. And I take that spinning rod and I go out there, and this thing, the koike hits the water. The second it hits the water, 15 mahi just shoot right at it like this and went and just stopped. And they're like, "Nope, not eating it."
No
They did
kidding.
not touch it, dude. They turned around and left. I think in saltwater, anything with spikes is probably dangerous.
Ah, yeah, right. I didn't think
Yeah,
about it that way.
yeah. They ran up to it. And they're like, "No, not doing it. Not doing it."
Not taking that chance. That's crazy. Well, that's yeah, it was the year of the urchin at ICAST. It might as well have been
Yeah,
like all that whole show. Everybody came out with a new one, and shout out to G Rat with it. They've got a cool rigging system that won
yeah.
best in the show. So that's what everybody's wrestling with
Well, I'm
is
going to
different.
take it to Champlain. That's next. I'm going to go fish.
Yeah,
You going to fish Champlain?
no, no.
Man,
What are you fishing, a Toyota up there?
the Toyota. Yeah, it's going to be the uh end of August. We're going to go up there and fish it. Hillary's going to fish. I'm going to fish it.
Now,
and then
now
we'll
wait a
stick
minute. You're
around.
you're talking me into it. My schedule is so overwhelmed with the stuff to grow. It's the end. Is it the last week of August? We're gonna,
It is like it ends like on the 30th. It's the 27th through the 30th of August. You've got nothing going on, man. You can, I mean, it's
man.
August.
We might have to join you guys up there. I miss
Yeah.
that place. I haven't been up there. Like it's all been Thousand Islands, and I love them both. But
Yeah.
it's like you flip a coin. Which one do I go to when I'm on
I
going on
know.
vacation? You
Well,
know?
I think I'm excited about that one because, and I love scope fishing. I love it. So don't take this the wrong way for all the scope haters out there. I like scope fishing, but I do like the challenge of saying, okay, I'm going to go do 3 hours of scope at some point throughout the day, and the rest of it is going to be, largemouth fishing or doing some other things that you can't use a scope for. So I think that's going to be fun. I'm actually excited for the challenge of game planning my day out for that.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be that'll be awesome up there, and we're going to get to see. You'll get to see a preview. I guess the elites will be up there doing that same thing because they're
Yeah.
no scope on Champlain,
Ah,
uh,
yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. The other buzz on the tournament was the Champions tournament, where they're giving away $3.5 million for
For
first
the
place.
WBE.
The WBE, yeah, on
Yes. Yeah.
Old Hickory. That was another big ICAST thing. Everybody was talking about trying to qualify to get into that tournament. Can you get, if you win Champlain, will you get into that tournament?
I don't know. I met Brian for the first time personally the other day. Great guy. I love his vision and what he's doing. But I don't know. I think you've got to be on tour unless there's some specialty type qualifications they've got going on. But I'm not sure. It'd be nice. I actually did tell him, and this wouldn't work for me, but I said you ought to reserve 4 or 5 spots or 6 spots a year for legends or other type of people that you might want to allow to come fish that tournament just for the hype of it.
Right.
Imagine, having my dad come fish it or
Yeah.
Hank Parker, or, some other people maybe that are stepped away from it that are legend status.
Yeah. Or Rick Clun. Saw him down
Or
there.
Rick, yeah, absolutely. Rick would be great. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Rick should get invited. My dad and Rick and people like that should be invited to any bass tournament they ever want to fish.
Yes.
I
I
told
agree.
Bass that. I told Chase that years ago. I said, You're missing out." Like, I said, first of all, on the elites, you could have 2 or 3 legendary spots for each event, and they don't even have to. They won't take up any points. They're a ghost on the sheet. They're not going to take a point away. But yet, how awesome would that be to have them show up and be part of an event?
Well, it would be fantastic, and that'd be a great event for them to
Hmm.
have it. I know
Yeah,
they are having two regular Joes. They're raffling off 2 spots for regular Joes to get involved and
yeah,
compete for 1.25 million. Uh, pretty cool deal going on at Old Hickory. That's going to be in the fall.
yeah.
Um, so look for that coming. That was a lot of buzz. That I want to ask you this about summertime. You fished a lot of summertime events in a lot of the reservoirs in the South, the stinking hot stuff when the schools start to dissipate, and it gets a little bit tougher that time of year. What for guys in, because we already, right, we know smallmouth fishing up north is going to be on fire right now in the summer. We've learned a little bit about Okeechobee. What are guys doing in Alabama and the reservoirs in the hot summer? How have you been most successful over the years?
Well, that's a little bit of a trick question because I look back at all the events and living here in Florida, it's great. I love living in Florida. Wouldn't live anywhere else. But the only disadvantage of living in Florida is that I don't get a chance to fish a lot of these reservoirs and places like Gunnersville and other places throughout the year because I'm only going to those lakes when I have a tournament. So I look back at it over the years of like what I fished. But that being said, where I've done pretty well over the years fishing situations like that in reservoirs is getting back in some coves and flats, main lake stuff that has isolated cover. If you said, "Hey, there's a one day tournament, you need to go catch a bag," what would you do? And you know, you take an old hickory or something like that, and you say, okay, I'm going to go in every short pocket off the main river, not too far back, and I'm going to find one big log stuck in the mud, or one big piling, or something that's you're looking for that one resident 3 to 5 pound bass, and focus on that, you know, and sit back and power pole down and throw a little. I think of all the summertime tournaments, and I know you remember these, about guys that get on those river flats, you know, up a river somewhere on these reservoirs and fish isolated stumps and stuff out there, main river, and crack them. You know, so
Yeah.
Stephen Browning, I remember Stephen Browning, like at Dardanelle and places like that, he would always do really well because he would just be fishing isolated big structure, big logs on main river or main lake stuff, looking for that one big bite.
I love it. Well, that's great. That's great advice for you guys in the midsection of the country. And I know a lot of people put their rods away this time of year in the summertime. But man, I love fishing in the summertime. Of course, for me, that's we're just getting going.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys down south are getting ready for hunting season, but we're just getting fired up in our part of the country.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
I
love this
fish
time.
365. I don't even hardly hunt anymore. I wouldn't pass up a good hunting trip, but I'm not seeking them out. I'm fishing, you know, I'm either saltwater fishing or bass fishing pretty much every day of the week somewhere. You know, it's been fun. We've been doing a lot of really cool saltwater stuff too. Got to get you down on do some of that in that Freeman. It's pretty awesome, dude.
Love in the Freeman. What's that?
That's the big that big, you know, boat that I have. That big, it's called a Freeman. It's a 42 foot. It's
Oh,
got big
okay.
quad motors on it. And
Hell
you can
yeah.
like take off and go out across the Gulf of Mexico 150 miles and go, you know, crazy places and fish. It's been fun. It's been fun. We're out there catching big swordfish and, you know, big giant snappers and, you know, all kind of cool stuff. It's a ball.
Hell, I'm in. Were you fishing down at the Keys where you just come from?
Yeah, we did some mahi fishing down there. Yeah, we
Uh,
sure
that-
did. We do that
That's
a lot this time of the year.
okay. That's very cool.
Yeah.
By the way, Donnie says he's caught some redfish on the Koiki. I don't know if you get to
Oh,
see that
that's good.
comment.
That's good. Donnie is a one heck of a red fisherman too. He's one of the OGs on Lake Okeechobee. When you look back at the list of OGs, he's one of them. So it's been fun fishing with him the last couple, well, this year and last year as well. It's been fun. I brought him. He kind of had stepped away from the hardcore bass fishing on Okeechobee and went crazy on the red fishing, and I brought him out of
Nice.
retirement. So it's been fun. But he's been cracking those redfish now. He's good with that now.
Hey, that's awesome. Well, you live in a great part of the country. You can do so much so close. So that's amazing, and we're all watching. And you know what? You're inspiring me to enter this Lake Champlain tournament. We might shift some gears. Maybe me and Jake will come up there and fish that
Oh yeah. Man, it doesn't
together.
get any better than that. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna stay up there for a few days extra and go up to the Adirondacks and film a few
Yeah,
episodes, and we might even run over to the St. Lawrence after it's all done and jump out there a little bit as well and do some fun stuff. It'd be
yeah.
good.
That's very cool. Well, man, I appreciate it. I know your schedule got wonky on you. I appreciate you making some time hanging out with us at Bass University. I appreciate the work you do at Bass University. I want to invite everybody to go check out Scott Martin's seminars here at Bass U, and we hope to
Appreciate it.
get you back at one of our events. Here at in the upcoming seminar season in January. I'll
Yeah,
certainly reach
absolutely.
out to you.
Yeah, I definitely want to reach out and or get that worked in our schedule. This year was a lot of moving parts and trying to get everything going, and I'm hopeful next year will be a more thought out. You know, we've got a second boat now finally and a second truck, and we're going to keep a rig on the road up north, you know, throughout the
Yeah.
year, so that way, you know, I can just jump on a plane and fly up and knock out some great content or fish some events and stuff like that. So it'll be good. This I think this next season we'll have everything a little more organized.
Well, I tell you this, if you're ever driving past the Chesapeake area, I hope you'll give me a call. We'll
We
get
need to
out
go do that.
on the bay, and the grass fishing is seems like it's always going on
Yeah.
down
Has
on the
it been good?
Chesapeake.
It's been good still all through around the where the
Yeah,
Susquehanna and all that comes in. It's still been really good.
It's mid to upper 20s winning most every weekend.
Wow.
It gets into the lower 20s this
Yeah.
sometimes on maybe a
Yeah.
tough tournament, but
Right.
we've got like, 25 square miles of grass that
Oh my goodness.
that the water gets real clear this time of year. It's
Yeah.
you can be on a grass line and you'll see and you experience this in Florida because you get the mixing of the saltwater species,
Sure. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you'll see these great schools of stripers come blowing under your boat, and they're
That's
followed
cool.
by 100 catfish that'll come under your boat, and then you're flipping in catching 4-pound bass, right in the mix. You
Well,
know,
I'm going to reach out to you. And what we should do, if it works out, is either I'll stop on the way home from Champlain after we do the up north thing,
yeah.
swing in and maybe knock out an episode, or my dad's going to be coming up with us as well, and he's going to be knocking out a bunch of content. And how awesome would it be to get him out there and do a show with him as well? So maybe between him and I, we can pull off something in Chesapeake on the way home.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I know your dad's roots are right there on the
Right there.
Chesapeake.
That's
Isn't
right.
that where he got
Yeah,
his start?
he did.
Uh,
Yeah, he sure
yeah,
did.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, say hey to your pops, and always
Appreciate
love
it, buddy.
hooking up with him. And thank you so much for being here and all you do for Bass University. And good luck and have fun in Hawaii. And good luck at Champlain, buddy.
Sounds good, buddy. See you, man.
All right, Scott Martin, everybody. What an awesome deal! Great to have him with us. So glad we were able to fit it in. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us, and uh, always great to catch up with him. He's been with us for such a long time. He's been part of Bass University for such a long time, and his family heritage is just amazing. Roland, I got introduced to in the very early part of my career, and he's always been a friend of mine. I love running into him out there, and it's amazing to watch him consistently getting up every day and hammering away at fishing because he just loves it. It's in his blood, and you can just see it in every single fish that he catches. And Scott has the same thing, and so does Hillary. They passed it on. It's beautiful to see, and it's. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us at Bass University. We're glad we were able to get Scott in, even though schedule shifted. But we're going to be back with more Bass University live episodes on our normal slot at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. So look for that. We'll keep you guys posted. We're going to roll out with some of our Bass U supporters. Want to give them a great shout out. We got to see a lot of them, including Redfin and Whitewater, Humminbird Minn Kota, of course, down at ICAST, as well as the WBE with the Champions Tournament. It's going to be exciting to watch that event and see who's the first one that's going to take home that $1 million, $1.25 million payday coming soon. And big shout out to Monty at Thump Joe. We've been watching you catch those crappie, buddy. Keep it going. We love to see it. And we'll see you next time at Bass University Live. Have a great day, everybody.